I want you to sanction the hit on Ralph Soprano.
Visually, the scene misdirects you.
You fucking kidding me?
Johnny Sack is standing, looming over the table, physically dominating the space.
Violated my wife's honor.
Ralph slept with Jenny?
The person standing has the power. However, here, Johnny is the petitioner. He is asking for permission.
He made a very insensitive joke about her body to some friends of ours.
What did he say?
Carmine, by remaining seated and continuing to eat, displays ultimate power. He doesn't need to stand up to assert authority. His word is law regardless of his posture. He forces Johnny to dance around him while he barely looks up.
Have to repeat it? My word's not good enough?
Carmine forces Johnny to personally insult his own wife. By making Johnny say the words, he forces Johnny to degrade Ginny in front of him. If Ralph says it, it's an insult. If Johnny says it, it's a humiliation.
Not if you want him clipped over it.
She was having a 90-pound mole removed from her ass.
Carmine knows that once Johnny speaks those vulgar words out loud in a quiet, serious room, Johnny's position as the righteous husband is weakened. He is no longer the avenger. He is just a guy repeating a dirty joke. When you are angry about an insult, the anger lies in the idea of the insult. When you have to explain the mechanics of the joke to an old man who is slowly eating pasta, the anger evaporates and is replaced by awkwardness. Carmine is purposely dragging the conversation into the mundane. He effectively turns a blood feud into an HR complaint. By the time Johnny finishes explaining the punchline, he sounds silly, not dangerous.
The implication was that her ass is so big she could have a mole that size removed from it.
Carmine treats it like a school principal reviewing a bad report card. He refuses to engage with the honor aspect and instead judges it on a technical level off color, inappropriate. This categorization creates a gap between the crime, a bad joke, and the punishment Johnny wants. Carmine is showing Johnny that the punishment does not fit the crime.
It's an off-colored remark. I'll crack him good. I'll ask for 200 grand.
The moment Carmine Sr. says, "I'll crack him good, I'll ask for 200 grand, he executes a devastating power move by unilaterally changing the currency of justice from blood to money. Up until this sentence, Johnny Sack is operating under the assumption that they are two old-school mobsters discussing a violation of honor, where the only appropriate currency for repayment is violence. By using the violent phrase, "crack him good," Carmine momentarily tricks Johnny into thinking they are in agreement, only to immediately pull the rug out by finishing the sentence with a financial figure. This linguistic bait and switch is the ultimate display of authority because it forces Johnny to live in Carmine's reality, a reality where the mafia is a business first and a secret society second. In terms of power dynamics, this single line minimizes Johnny from a grieving husband demanding retribution to a disgruntled employee being offered a settlement. Carmine is effectively telling his underboss that his wife's honor is a line item on a balance sheet, not a sacred boundary. By putting a price tag on the insult, Carmine creates a power imbalance where he is the detached, rational CEO managing assets, while Johnny is reduced to an emotional subordinate who doesn't get the big picture. The offer of 200 grand is not just a refusal of Johnny's request to kill Ralph, it is a declaration that the stability of the firm and its earning potential supersedes the personal feelings of its executives.
I'm talking about my wife's honor here, my honor.
We depend on this guy. There are millions of dollars at stake. We can't afford it, John.
Carmine asserts his dominance not by shouting, but by coolly demonstrating that he has the power to monetize disrespect, turning a situation that should cost the family a top earner into one that actually generates profit.
A room full of guys making fun of my wife, and you're not going to let me deal with this?
My answer has got to be no.
When Johnny Sack says, "A room full of guys making fun of my wife and you're not gonna let me deal with it," he is identifying the exact moment his authority as underboss begins to rot. By emphasizing the room full of guys, Johnny is shifting the argument from a private grievance to a public crisis of credibility. He is telling Carmine that this isn't just about Ginny's feelings, but about the fact that his subordinates are openly laughing at him, and if he cannot punish them, he ceases to be a leader to be feared. The tragic irony of the phrase, "you're not gonna let me," is that it verbally confirms his own powerlessness. In the very act of demanding the right to assert his power, he is forced to admit that he effectively has none unless Carmine grants it to him. It is a moment of total castration where Johnny realizes the code he worships is a lie. He assumes the boss exists to enforce honor, but Carmine reveals that the boss exists to protect the earners, leaving Johnny standing there as the only man in the room who still believes that respect matters more than the bottom line.
I want to sit down then with Ralph, fucking thief. Get this Fernandez paving bullshit dealt with.
When Johnny Sack pivots to demanding a sit-down about the Fernandez paving bullshit, it is a desperate tactical retreat designed to salvage a shred of his dignity after being totally overruled. He has just been told that his wife's honor is worth less than the money Ralph generates, so by shifting the conversation to a mundane business dispute, he is attempting to reframe the interaction so he can leave the room appearing as a professional underboss rather than a humiliated husband. Since Carmine has stripped him of the power to exact violence, Johnny grasps at the only power he has left, bureaucratic authority, using the paving issue as a flimsy excuse to force Ralph to submit to him in a formal setting, thereby proving to himself and Carmine that he still holds rank over the man he isn't allowed to kill. It is a moment of profound resignation, where Johnny effectively swallows his rage to realign with Carmine's corporate worldview, accepting a meaningless administrative victory just to avoid walking out the door completely empty-handed. Johnny's silent exit is a final, wordless act of defiance that serves as the only rebellion he can afford by refusing to offer a parting nod or a goodbye. He is signaling that while he will obey the boss's orders to spare Ralph, he refuses to pretend that their relationship hasn't been fundamentally damaged. Carmine watching him leave without saying a word is equally powerful, as it shows a boss who is secure enough in his authority that he doesn't need to demand polite pleasantries, but his lingering gaze suggests a calculated assessment. He is watching to see if he has broken his underboss's spirit or just his heart, acknowledging that while he won the battle for the Esplanade money, he may have created a dangerous resentment in his most loyal soldier that could fester in the silence left behind.